You also have a 50 CR portfolio overall, through mutual funds. And a lot of people generally get, they feel that it's too good to be true.
That is why when you see this large number, 30 lakhs, of course, many people will find it difficult to believe. But this is a result of the hard work that we have put in for last 15 years. 95% of the people to whom we are talking, they don't need 50 crore. They should actually be very realistic in what they want in life. 10, 15 crores is a lot.
Right.
And you can accomplish most of these in this thing. The challenge is nobody stays for 26 years. That is where the big problem comes. The only good thing which I did in the last 14 years is do not interrupt the power of the thought.
Hi guys, welcome to the Per Annum Money podcast today, and I'm glad to announce that we are starting a new series called Paisa Profit Portfolio. Now, the idea with this series is to basically educate people about how they can build, good portfolios over a period of time, a well-diversified portfolio, which does not only account for how to approach a portfolio, but also accounts for creating wealth in the long term. And I am very happy to also tell you this, that we have the best guest for this today, Mr. Gajendra Kothari, who is now popularly known as Mr. SIP of India. So he's probably the best guest to start this series with. So, hi Gajendra, how are you?
Hello, Vishwas. Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. Gajendra, if you could just, take 4 5 minutes and just to tell your story in brief, like right from your background, your family background, your background, and
Absolutely.
things that have led to you.
Sure. So, Vishwas, I come from a Marwadi business family, and I was destined to be into my family business supposedly. But I never enjoyed that business because I realized the only thing you can make in that business was money
Right,
and nothing more.
right,
And we were in tier 4 city in Assam, a place called Jorhat. So there was not much scope to grow there intellectually. And the kind of people you would deal with were you would not learn from them because it was same routine stuff. So I was not very interested, not very excited with money part also. So I told my family that I want to go out, do something different. And that's how, because we come from a joint family, they could, tell me, okay, you go and try it out few years. So I came to Bangalore, did my graduation, then did my post-graduation in Delhi, and then landed up in Bombay as part of the placement into financial services firm called UTI Mutual Fund. This was 2004. And before that, I had no idea about the financial services industry. But when I came to Bombay, and Bombay was, of course, city of dreams for many people. And I said, let me try my luck here. So day one, which was when I was into the branch office, I was told that go and meet the customer. I had zero idea about how to do it. But that's how learn on the job training happens. So in a month or two, I realized when I was talking to people, I realized that most people do not have idea about investments, personal finance. Basically, financial literacy was missing. And I'm talking about very high net worth individuals in a very posh part of Bombay called Juhu area. So I realized if this is the case here, then imagine what's happening in all other cities across the country. That's when I realized that there is a gap that needs to be fulfilled. And this is my passion. I love doing this. That was the whole idea when I want to start my own company, Etica Wealth, that was the whole reason. But believe you me, that I was part of this financial service industry for 5 years, but I myself never did what I was telling people because I was 24-year-old kind of, fresh out of college. So there was no one to guide me to. I made a lot of mistakes, money mistakes early in my career. I started my SIP in 2004, did it for 12 months and then stopped it. But in somewhere in 2008-9, I lost 50 lakhs rupees by kind of gambling, in the sense putting money in F&O, thinking I can make quick money, and I lost everything in the 2008-9 market crash.
I would like to, double click on that. So why, let's say, did you, because most journeys start with this only, that the younger generation sort of, like to take those riskier bets while starting out their financial journey. So can you recall why did you make those decisions?
See, when you are young, you are kind of brash. You think you can take on the world. If you have few good trades, you think you have now cracked the formula. This would work. And you take bigger bets without putting your stop losses or framework in place. And that's when, you meet with accidents, right? So I'm glad today that happened in 2008-9. Of course, that point of time, it was a substantial money for me. But in hindsight, after 15 years, I think that was a very small price that I paid for the mistakes that I did. Because had I would have done these kind of mistakes 10 years later, the amount would have been much larger. So that's the day I realized that I cannot make quick money. You said paisa, profit, portfolio. So all three has to be aligned in the sense when you invest in a portfolio, it's a diversified set of vehicles. That's when I realized that I need to start with mutual funds, SIP in a serious way and build this portfolio over a period of time. Profits will automatically come and then wealth creation will also happen. So that's how I started my first SIP of 10,000 rupees in August 2010. Little did I know that, 14 years later, the same SIP, that 10,000 which I'm doing, which I was glad to share, now we are entering to the 15th year, it is just about to cross 1 CR mark. The value of that 10,000 SIP, which I started 14 years back, will be just touching 1 CR mark, hopefully in next 6-8 months.
Right, that's absolutely amazing. And you also have a 50 CR portfolio overall, through mutual funds.
Right.
And a lot of people generally get, they feel that this is too good to be true. Such a big number can't be achieved in one's lifetime, especially when you have very humble beginning. Can you, basically, a lot of people, why these videos are working is that a lot of people are looking for education and hope at the same time that a common man can have this kind of a portfolio.
Right.
So, can you tell me how is it possible for a 25-year-old who's just starting out, right? He might be earning 50,000-60,000 a month, and he'll grow, in his life. Can he create such kind of a portfolio wherein he has, let's say, a 30-50 crore portfolio by the time he, let's say, retires also? Is that possible in his lifetime? And let's say, what would be the approach to it?
So, let's one step back. So, my question to most youngsters today is that why do you need 50 crores in the first place? What is the rationale behind that number? Right? See, I am doing such a large SIP because I have a target of 100 crores to become one idiot. And there's a logic behind it. I don't need 100 crores. Most of us don't need 100 crores. Because I'm into wealth management industry, I'm telling investors that I'll create wealth for you. If I have not done the same for myself in the same fashion, then I've told a lie. So that is why I'm on a mission to prove to the world that I have done it. Of course, 100 crores wealth, I have to do it in 20 years. I've taken as a challenge to do it before my 50th birthday. And I started at the age of 30. So I have a 20-year window. Because I have a limited window, that is why I have no option but to increase my investments. So Vishwas, there are 3 ways you can create wealth. How much money you put, how much returns you earn, and how long you put. This is the power of compounding formula, and these are the 3 things that goes in that formula. You can change any of these 3 variables. The problem with me is I cannot change time because that's the limit I've taken for myself, 50th birthday. The returns are not in my control. Returns are given by the markets. So what do I do? The only option that I have is increase investments. Luckily, my business, my profession, I'm working hard there, able to make money. Whatever money I'm making from that business, I'm plowing back into SIPs.
Right.
That is why when you see this large number, 30 lakhs, of course, many people will find it difficult to believe, but this is the result of the hard work that we have put in for last 15 years. And that's nothing but what is called active income, how much you put, how much you will get. But whatever I'm getting now is, now I'm making sure that this works hard for me. And, I'm able to create 100 crores. But again, I come back to the question that 95% of the people to whom we are talking, they don't need 50 crores. They should actually be very realistic in what they want in life. So, everybody has concern of retirement, buying a good house, sending children for good education, luxury car or holidays. These are the things. 10-15 crores is a lot. Right. And you can accomplish most of these in this thing. So work realistically, and then if you achieve 10 or 15 crores, and let me give you an example of 10 crores. 10 crores is also a reasonable amount. A 25-year-old guy, if he start an SIP of 50,000, 24-year-old guy, and continues it for next 26 years without even stepping up or increasing, earning 12% return, can create 10 crores wealth at the age of 50. Now you just extrapolate to 60, then this 10 crores itself become around 25, 30 crores, because another 10 years money would further grow. 25 crores is a huge amount, and you don't have to increase your SIP. And you rightly said 25-year-old person can put 50,000 per month, which is not a big ask. 6 lakhs per annum. So it's a simple formula. The challenge is nobody stays for 26 years. That is where the big problem comes. iPhone खरीदना है, जो भी saving की last एक साल में, you will pull out that, right? You interrupt the power of compounding. Right. The only good thing which I did in the last 14 years is do not interrupt the power of compounding. Step up your SIPs, keep the discipline going, and just hang on there. Whether you made 25% returns or you didn't make any returns for the first 10 years, don't even look at it. I think that's what clicked with me.
Right, that's absolutely amazing. Like you said that you should never be interrupting your SIPs. And SIPs, I would, say that it's a reflection of your saving. Now, I want to touch on the savings part, because a lot of people, there is this active notion in the, in India, or let's say across the world, that saving 20% of your income is kind of the norm. But when I meet most people who have, let's say, achieved enormous wealth through humble beginnings, and let's say have even achieved their fire or everything, their savings rate has been predominantly very high.
Yes.
Right, since day one. If you could also give us a walkthrough, because like you said, you started from the age of 30 till now. How has been, let's say, your primary income evolved? Like you said, your active income, right? Which is because active income is one of the most important parts to create a healthy portfolio.
Yes.
So how has that grown, and how much you've been saving along with that? So that will basically give people a picture how much you've been
So I'll
investing.
give you 3 phases of my life. 24, when I did my MBA and started my first income job. I think it was for 3 years when I was in Bombay, married. That time I used to earn just 45,000 starting salary. Bombay is very expensive. कुछ ज़्यादा बचता नहीं था. I would hardly save. And secondly, even if I want to save, I didn't know the powerful concept of SIP. I knew SIP होता है, क्या होता है, but I didn't know the power of that. I didn't save much. And even if I was doing SIP, I was doing 2,000, 1,000 just for tax saving, kind of thing, So no wealth was created then. And we were living kind of, this thing paycheck to paycheck, ज़्यादा saving होती नहीं थी. When I went to London, my salary increased substantially, right? And I was able to save a lot. Right, but again, somewhere in 2007-8, I thought, let me punt on Indian markets, sitting there, and I started doing F&O from there, and I lost everything in 6 months. 6 to 9 months, I lost everything, almost 50 lakhs. Whatever I saved, I lost. Right, so that was the second thing. Third, when I came back to India and started my company, that's when I started 10,000 SIP. That time, I started saving whatever I could, but as my income picked up from my business, we started aggressively increasing the SIP. So we never look at this funda ki 20% होना चाहिए, 30%. We said, whatever we are earning and whatever these are expenditure, जो भी बचा है, plow back into investments.
Right.
So 10,000 became 50,000, I think, by 2013 or 14. By 2016, it became 1 lakh per month SIP. And in 8 years now, that 1 lakh has become 30 lakhs because income grew substantially, and beyond a point, your expenditure doesn't grow that much, right? बोलते हैं ना, रोटी कपड़ा मकान सब हो गया, अभी कितना ज्यादा.
Right.
So everything is now going back into SIP. It's not how much money you earn that matters. It's how much you save and make that work is what matters.
And right, this is the thing that has to be enforced, that savings in your initial years is one of the most important steps that you can take. Most people assume कि ठीक है, नई job है, let's enjoy. And वो होता रहता है, and you lose track when, let's say, your kids come in life and everything that happens. Then you realize ki, how important savings are.
I was doing exactly like this. I was earning money, I was spending money, and then I was saving. Because I had no control on spending, I didn't know how much I'll save.
Right.
So this always used to be question mark. After my 30th birthday, when I started with 10,000 SIP, I said, I'll earn, I'll save. I decide my target, how much I'm going to save. Then whatever remaining in the bank account, I'm going to spend. So Warren Buffett says this, don't save what is left after spending. Spend what is left after saving. That did the entire trick for me. Today, that commitment has come because of that mindset, which, changed after I started my first SIP.
Could you, also walk me through? So let's say you started with a 10,000 SIP, and let's say today you have a 50 CR portfolio. What kind of returns that you made, the kind of periods that you saw. So basically it will help, our viewers to understand the kind of cycles a market goes through and what kind of, mindset you should keep towards while you face volatility.
First 3 years were very difficult years. 2010 to 2013, markets moved nowhere. So I kept on doing money, and after 3 years, I would have ended up investing around 50 lakhs, and I was sitting on minus 2 lakhs. Then the value came to 47.75. What I've realized, Vishwa, was that 99% people in my place would have stopped their SIPs and would have redeemed this money and put in something safer, thinking that this doesn't work because I've given 3 years. And today, forget 3 years, people don't want to give even 1 year also. So people would think I have given 3 years, not working, and they would withdraw. They would withdraw precisely at the wrong time, right? Because for me, the trend started in 2013, as in the up cycle started. You would remember Mr. Modi was elected in 2014 and markets started rallying. So that's when I started seeing the jump. And by the turn of 2018, in Jan, I had invested around roughly 4 crore rupees by stepping up the SIP. The value of that 4 crore has become 6 crores. So from minus 2 lakh in the first 3 years, I went on to become plus 2 CR over the next 8 years. See, this is how markets behave. Markets have cycles and you have to respect that. When the cycle is not in your favor, I would say go aggressive, because that's the time you're buying low. You're getting more units in SIP. It is that rupee cost averaging, right? And when markets are higher, your SIP will give you less units. Your
Right.
SIP will buy you less units, but that's okay. So it was minus 2 lakhs, then plus 2 crore, and then COVID hit in 2020. So I was back to minus again. My 10-year savings from 2010 to 2020 was in negative. Again, I have not seen anyone in the world with all their life savings into one asset class and can remain calm. For me, by that time, I had read, the likes of Warren Buffett and legendary investors, and I realized that these are cycles. This will happen.
Right.
Of course, every time it will be a new episode. Like COVID was a new thing for all of us. We didn't know how to navigate it. But my whole funda was very simple. See, either nobody will survive, then none of this matters. So loss hai, profit hai, kuch matter nahi karta hai. But if we survive, and the money that I'm putting today, that is going to go crazy. Incidentally, that's the same thing happened in less than 18 months. My portfolio value from minus 25 lakh went to 9 crores profit. Now, the thing that I want to share with our viewers is that my journey has been a huge roller coaster ride.
Right.
I am like that guy who will go to that theme park and take the most scary ride. Right? It gives you the most thrill.
Right.
So in my journey, you saw thrill and scare and this
Right.
thing. But to most investors, I wouldn't recommend this unless you are, quite experienced and you've seen the journey. My expectation was 15% returns, right? Or 17%, whatever. The more returns you expect, the more risk you have to take. When I say risk doesn't mean you will lose capital. Because I'm not punting in stocks or F&O. My money will be quite volatile. My journey will be quite volatile. But if you're expecting 12% kind of return per annum, then your journey will be far less volatile. So it's like you want to drive a Mercedes and I want to drive a Ferrari because I want 150 kilometers. Chances are that I'll have more accidents, likely.
Right.
So you have to be very clear what kind of returns you expect, and you have to answer this to yourself, not to others.
Yeah.
If you are not comfortable in your mind taking high risk, see, the simple fact check is, suppose you invested 100 rupees. How much loss can you take and sleep peacefully at night? Is the level 90? Is the level 80? Or is the level 50? To me, 50 is also okay, but not to many people.
Yeah.
So this is a very fundamental question people need to ask themselves, not on the return side, but how much downside I can expect to have and not worry.
Another thing that I want to touch upon is, so a lot of people have started aggressively, investing in mutual funds, and they want to achieve their FIRE through that, financial independence, retire early. It's a big movement going on right now. First of all, what is, let's say, your overall view on FIRE? If you could just start with, your basic overview of FIRE.
See, FIRE, of course, this has become a fashionable term right now. Now, if I look in hindsight, I could have taken retirement at the time of COVID also.
Right.
And even I can take retirement today also. I'm 45. To me, FIRE is nothing but financial independence. Financial independence to me is like the art of walking tall, the pleasure of walking tall. This was an ad which came in US 50 years back, which is the pleasure of walking tall. It says if you have money in your account, in bank or in your investments, you can take confident decisions. Money gives you choices. Money gives you options. So you don't have to work where you don't like to, right? To me, FIRE is not mean that you will sit at home and doing nothing. To me, it means that you're going to live your best life from here.
Right.
You will decide whom to meet, where to meet, how long to meet, with whom to work. All of these become choices for you.
Right.
See, one thing I've realized when I interact with a lot of my clients, and I'll give you a classic story. We had an investor who was a CEO of an IPL team, right? So it's a dream job for everyone, correct?
Right.
He was earning big money. But during those 2 months of IPL, it would be such a stress in his life. Can't meet his families, a lot of protocols are there, and you have to fly, you have to travel crazy, you have to be in the dressing war room. It's a highly stressful situation. And he did this for 10 years.
Right.
He came to us and said, Gajendra, I can't take anymore. I don't think this is badly affecting my health also. So I said, then why are you doing it? Right? You have enough money, you can retire, or you can achieve you have achieved financial independence. So he went to the owner of the team and said, look, I can't take this anymore. I want to quit. And the owner thought that he's joining a rival team, right? That's how normally people think when you come for resignation. He says, no, I'll give you more money. But he says, I'm not working for money at the first place. I can't handle this anymore. I've done this for 10 years.
Right.
That's FIRE.